Not much about him, so I'm gonna ask you in a second.
GeorgeNotFound.
A little while ago now, I made a series of videos going over the GeorgeNotFound situation and stuff that Average Harry and others were saying about him. Since then, people have requested for me to put these series of videos in a compilation for easy viewing for new viewers that want to know about the situation and for people who just want something for the background. So, without further ado, here is the entirety of the most recent GeorgeNotFound situation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. I hope you're having a good day because I'm having an absolutely fantastic day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was a little bit desperate when it came to slop. There was nothing to cover, but then I got an edit on one of my social media platforms that came up on my homepage and recommended. Now, this edit had about 70,000 likes and over 500,000 views and was of a content creator called Average Harry. He's friends with Tommy in it and people like Memulous. The edit in question was of Average Harry on his show called Fireball Fridays, and in particular, it was with Adam Mcintyre this time. But I couldn't find the clip that was used in this edit anywhere, where they're bigging up what Average Harry said about GeorgeNotFound. I went onto the version that was on YouTube, and this clip was seemingly cut out. I skimmed through it, I even searched it up in the transcript, and it just wasn't there. But I went to the other platform's account where they do the streams, and I actually asked in the chat, and I was very swiftly banned from the chat for asking said question, because it was Average Harry, and you know, you probably remember this guy. This was the guy that was crying over the Katie Bugs GeorgeNotFound thing last year.
My friend cried in my fucking arms about this, and you're on stream denying it all.
Then I just decided to take my chance and look in the stream highlights and stream clips and see if anybody had clipped this up from the stream, and I was very lucky because this clip was just sitting there waiting for me in the stream clips. Please enjoy the clip that made me want to make this entire video in the first place.
Not much about him, so I'm gonna ask you in a second.
GeorgeNotFound, kill yourself. I'm not even joking. On a serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were found
Sorry,
dead tomorrow.
serious ting.
Serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were dead tomorrow.
See, I think that might be a bit of an overreaction in reference to GeorgeNotFound, especially since we're probably going to assume that this is in reference and about the allegations that he received from Katie Bugs last year, you know, where Katie Bugs was proved to have lied to a significant extent and then she ran away. The same GeorgeNotFound stuff, by the way, that Average Harry's friend Tommy in it, you know, brought up to weaponize against Dream.
However, with your group, I cannot believe how the George stuff from a year ago went down. I cannot believe the response to it online. It's disgusting. It's sexist, man. And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
I find even funnier than that clip in question is the one where Tubbo reacts to it and he just sits there, just says, yeah.
Believe how the George stuff from a year ago went down. I cannot believe the response to it online. It's disgusting. It's sexist, man. And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
Yeah. I can only assume what Harry said about GeorgeNotFound is why I couldn't find it in the version that was uploaded to YouTube.
I actually hate your guts. Sorry,
In a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
Or else what the other person behind Adam McIntyre is doing, she's just posing 24/7. She's like an NPC, she's resetting and then reposing.
And Sapnap's gonna get beaten up by Tubbo.
Mike's comment instantly just goes back to posing. Like that was crazy. That was like an actual NPC moment. And we all know that Sapnap, of course, did not get beaten by, you know, Tubbo because Creator Clash 3 got cancelled. So, you know, thumbs up. Creator Clash 3 makes sense every video I do, apparently.
Okay. I don't know about that. Wilbur Brighton Biter. Brighton Biter.
Thanks for that, Adam. I wouldn't expect anything less of Adam McIntyre there. This clip is just pure comedy gold. It is so chaotic, it's so weird, so heavily deranged, it is just amazing. But now, whilst this video is called The GeorgeNotFound Situation is Insane, this clip inspired me to take a look at the podcast further. When I was actually trying to find this clip, I skimmed over the entire podcast to see if I could find it anywhere, and I genuinely couldn't, but I found so much more stuff that I wanted to talk about, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the rest of the podcast and talk about some clips that I have pulled out. Yes, look, I get this is a 4-month-old podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it, but the clip with the GeorgeNotFound stuff has only just blown up. People are only just now seeing it, and I'm only just now seeing it, so I'm going to cover it if I would like to. I can already feel the comments.
Right.
Covering Dream. Should I Dream?
No, let's not shout him out.
Dream, we fucking love you on Fireball Friday. Dream, we fucking... That's
We
what
love
the
you, Dream.
mask is!
We love you!
And
Come on.
so, I did a stream last night on Dream. And on that stream, I talked about Fireball Friday.
What are you going to notice during a lot of these clips is a lot of it is talking about Dream and talking about Dream's personal identity, like if he's gay or not, if he's straight, if he's queer, whatever he is. That is a focal point for Adam McIntyre here. And this comes straight off the back of course, the Tommy in It Dream drama from January, February time.
We're organised.
We have a Kiki.
But we thought Aimsy just texted me going, your face. So if Dream comes up, I'm making sure I look good for the clip.
This is what I'm assuming, and I can only assume she was doing in that GeorgeNotFound clip. She knew that this was going to be something that would get clipped up and spread around, and she wanted to look her best because she knew it would get clipped up. So we're going to play that clip again, but just focus on her.
Not much about him, so I'm gonna ask you in a second.
GeorgeNotFound, kill yourself. I'm not even joking. On a serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were found
Sorry,
dead tomorrow.
serious ting.
Serious thing. I'll be so happy if you found dead tomorrow. I actually hate your guts. Sorry,
In a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
And Saplap's gonna get beaten up by Tubbo.
It's so weird. It's so strange how she says something that goes back to it immediately like it was a jump cut, like she's a piece of AI or an NPC. I don't know why she's done that. I think it's absolutely hilarious, but that's definitely what she was doing here. She knew that this would get clipped up. This is something that would be spread around, and she wanted to look her best, which, you know, is what it is.
You
know what?
guys
Wait.
do messy. I'm just gonna make sure I look.
Here's the thing. Bitch, I'm gonna get so much more messy with do not call Dream queer. And you know what? Quote me on this.
And me.
You can clip this shit. Do not call Dream queer. I will be the one to say it. I'm gonna throw you bitches under the bus. I love starting shit.
We know Adam, and I don't know why anybody even cares if Dream is queer or not. Why does that matter? Why does it matter if he's gay? Whatever he is, it just doesn't matter. What you're gonna notice is Adam McIntyre definitely does care in these clips and is absolutely fuming about it.
I have Lexi with the jawline. I know that's fucking right. Here's the thing. The fact that I'm moving is one thing, and the fact as well that I love trolling on Dream, and I know you do secretly as well.
Oh, I know. Very publicly.
Yeah, it's not a secret. This was again during the time where Dream and other people were saying that, you know, Tommy and its friends and Tommy and it himself were making lots of unnecessary jabs at Dream and bringing up some stuff that just wasn't true.
You know what? I'm gonna put that at number 5.
Yeah.
Because
It's done.
for me, Logan Paul, I really don't care for a straight man. At the core.
He's
I don't care
unlabeled,
for-
actually.
Like every second of this live stream was intended to be clipped up, because why would you come out with that? Regardless, anyways, Adam McIntyre is an incredibly obnoxious person, so I'm not surprised. This is usual Adam McIntyre behaviour.
Okay, so, he's queer.
So many people
I
are
actually
Dream,
heard
right?
something.
So many people are Dream, right? Unlabeled.
He's never actually said he's straight, so
I'm-
technically he's unlabeled.
That has to be number 5, just on the basis that I don't care for a straight / unlabeled man. Hi Dream, hope you're doing well.
Who cares? Why is this like a constant thread that Adam McIntyre wants to pull on and focus on during this live stream? Nobody cares. When this was filmed and posted, this would have been around the February time, so when the stuff between Tommy and Dream was still going on, and there was criticisable stuff to say at that point about Dream. There was still lots of criticisable stuff about Tommy, but you could still criticise Dream. There was still a lot to say there, but nobody was focusing on this. Nobody gives a crap.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna advise that.
No, I take that back. And make money. I don't know.
Become a Minecraft streamer.
I
Expose
don't-
Dream. Expose Dream. Do not call Dream queer. Dream is not queer. Dream is not.
It's okay.
Might as well just told Adam to shut up, please. This is awful. Please stop.
Finding out about. I mean, I guess you got thrown in the deep end. But when you started finding out about the Dream Tommy stuff, was that your?
First of all, please do not call Dream queer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, but I don't think Adam McIntyre wants you to call Dream queer. It's just a hunch, it's just a suspicion based off nothing, no clips I've seen, not them repeating it several times, but I just don't think that they would want you to call Dream queer.
Don't worry, I won't, baby girl.
Please don't laugh. Please don't laugh. This is very
I'm
serious.
so serious.
Please do not call Dream queer. Dream is a straight man. Oh my god, wait. I literally feel like I'm like in heaven right now because I do my own shit. I can get these two in trouble.
You can get any.
Wait, oh my
As
god, I
in,
can get these in trouble.
If
Wait.
there were ever a situation where you could probably get any info out of us you
Fuck.
wanted.
Wait, oh my god. No, it's not even that. I can get you in trouble. Okay, wait. Clip this. Dream is a straight man.
Don't worry, Adam, there was no point in saying that because no one was going to clip this anyway. This only has 15,000 views. I have no idea how many views it got when it was actually live, but to my knowledge, I've not seen any clips of this, so, you know, that worked.
No, sit down.
No, get back in the
But-
clip, Lexi.
Lexi is involved in this. Wait, oh my god, wait, it's perfect. Okay, wait. Oh, it's fucking amazing. Dream is a straight man. No unlabels, he is a straight man. I don't believe in anything he is saying past that. He is a straight man. He is straight. Okay? He's a straight man. And he's a boring man at that.
Really do appreciate your insightful opinion, Adam, and I'm still a little bit confused though if you would like us to call Dream queer or not. I really didn't get that message. I'm still a bit fuzzy on that. So if you could repeat yourself just again, that would really help. It's sad this is something that didn't come up on my radar at the time, because this is just genuinely great. I'm glad that it came up sooner rather than later, and I'm actually seeing this now, but man, that's such a shame I didn't see this at the time. I do want to thank the person that made that edit so I can actually cover this. I've got an excuse, guys. Look, the edit was posted pretty recently, so look, I can now cover this 4-month-old live stream.
Hate your guts. Sorry,
In a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
A few days ago, if you weren't aware, I released a video called The GeorgeNotFound Situation is Insane, where I went over a clip from maybe about 3 to 4 months ago now of Average Harry, Adam Mcintyre, and a girl called Lexi who was posing in the corner because she knew this would get clipped due to what was being said in said clip, where Average Harry said that GeorgeNotFound should take his own life, and there were some other details within this clip which I spoke about after he had kind of gone viral again on some short form media platforms being used in edits. In the video I spoke about my journey of actually trying to get said clip, going onto the Twitch, asking in the Twitch chat, getting banned in their Twitch chats for simply asking a genuine question, and then when I ultimately found the clip, I made my video all around the following clip.
I don't know much about him, so I'm gonna ask you in a second.
GeorgeNotFound, kill yourself. I'm not even joking. On a serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were found
Sorry,
dead tomorrow.
serious ting.
Serious thing, I'll be so happy if you weren't dead tomorrow. I actually hate your guts.
In
Sorry,
a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
And Saplap's gonna get beaten up by Tubbo.
Okay. I don't know about that. Wilbur Brighton Biter. Brighton Biter. That's
I
all.
spoke about that clip, and then I went on to speak about that podcast, the Fireball Friday, as a whole, what Adam Mcintyre was saying about Dream, and what Average Harry and Lexi was doing in the corner. Of course, if you want a full breakdown of that entire podcast, that situation, and the stuff I went over in that previous video, I highly recommend that you go and watch that said video, and then come back to finish watching this one. But I made that video, and I made a tweet to go alongside it, and both of these things got a bit of traction. They picked up a bit of steam. Now, for the most part, the comments on my YouTube video about the situation were in agreement with what I was saying, condemning what Average Harry, Adam Mcintyre were saying, and were in agreement about my thoughts on the GeorgeNotFound situation. Not only that, but people are in agreement what I had to say about Tommy Innit, Tubbo, and all of these other people. There is this real narrative forming on YouTube at the moment where people are waking up to these people's actions, and instead of just consistently blaming GeorgeNotFound and Dream and holding no accountability towards people like Tommy Innit, Tubbo, people like Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre, people are starting to round out more and actually looking at the situation objectively. Because I'm not saying somebody like Dream or GeorgeNotFound don't deserve criticism in any aspect, but when it comes to certain things, of course, people like Tommy and Average Harry and these other content creators are going to get criticism, because that's only fair. And while this sentiment had kind of carried over onto platforms like Twitter, with some people being in agreement with my video and those tweets getting thousands of likes, for the most part, my video and my tweet kind of landed in the GeorgeNotFound is 100% a sexual assaulter camp. I just genuinely couldn't resist the urge to follow up on this and talk about some of these posts because they're genuinely hilarious. But not only that, we've also got a response from Lexi. Now, if you don't know who Lexi is, Lexi was the person who was kind of aura farming, clip farming, posing in the corner of the video whilst Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre were going off on people like Dream, Wilbur, Sir, GeorgeNotFound, because she knew that a lot of it would get clipped up and she wanted to look her best, which you're going to realise that's quite a big theme of a lot of these posts, which I don't think people get that we understand that, but it's still fucking hilarious, just not in the way that she intended it to. If one of my closest friends got SA'd and I had to be there to watch them fall apart mentally, I want their abuser to end themselves too. Average Harry is valid here, I don't care. Highlight the word if here, because we're still talking about if in relation to GeorgeNotFound. Where is Katie Bugs? We don't know, because she lied several times, got caught out in her lies, kind of broke down and then ran away. The real split of like 75% of the people that just genuinely do not believe the large majority of the stuff about GeorgeNotFound, and then you've got that fraction of people, especially on platforms like Twitter and Reddit, who genuinely believe that GeorgeNotFound did these things and will just dismiss anything that has come out to contradict that. Average Harry is literally average, because this is the average reaction, or should be. I agree with it. Literally do. Don't see how people don't understand this. They bullied an assault victim off the internet because they they couldn't remember exact details. Most assault victims can't, that's a normal thing, F off. People won't remember every single significant detail or just detail in a general situation, and that's fair, and lots of people will be lenient on them. 95% of people will be lenient on that fact. However, there are several videos on the internet that show where Katie Bugs maliciously lied, twisted things, framed things in a negative light, was incredibly disingenuous, or just straight up lie. Not just talking about she couldn't remember a few things here, that would be genuinely ridiculous. Telling him to KHS is way too far, especially considering the allegations are flimsy at best, considering how many lies she got caught up in, and how many times the story changed. I understand supporting your close friend, even if it clearly looks like they're lying, but that's far. Gen Z is trying to cancel Average Harry for telling a misogynistic sex offender to end himself. I mean, last time I checked, GeorgeNotFound was not convicted whatsoever of any offence, and last time I checked, Katie Bugs got caught up in several lies and ran away. So yeah, I appreciate that one. Also, like when people are writing these tweets, they're saying horrible things, like this guy's offender, but we've got to make it worse, because that's not bad enough. We've got to say he's misogynistic as well. We've got to get a few keywords in there. Genuinely, don't piss me off, you people. Dream Team supporters are actually under spells, because there's no way a sane person would try to defend this shit. And if you wanted to cancel Harry, he has done so much worse. Like, genuinely, the shit he says and does is fucking crazy. Like, you would have had a field day with him if he was popular in 2021. That's another thing I've noticed as well when critiquing people like Tommy and Average Harry, Tubbo, or any person that isn't like Dream or GeorgeNotFound, is that they would just label you a Dream Team supporter or a Dream Team fan or a Dream person if you don't agree with their narratives, like that's meant to offend me or something. The large majority of people, and if you look in the comments of my video, and the majority of people speaking on this have actively spoken out against things that Dream has done, criticized Dream actively. I'm somebody who has criticized Dream quite a lot, not only on my other social media platforms, but also on this platform. But I'm also going to critique people like Average Harry, Tommy Innit, Adam Mcintyre, and anybody else who I think is critique worthy. Literally, I think a lot of people are unwilling to accept the fact that George essayed her because a lot of commentary YouTube channels have claimed it's debunked. Hello there, and let's just oversimplify that and be incredibly disingenuous. I've seen some people in their late 20s defending it too. I was arguing with a 28-year-old about it. Said something along the lines of, acting like this at your big age, and here comes the criminal defense squad, I'd get watching Hermitcraft or Lifesteal, but Dream? It's not a matter of let people enjoy things, it's a matter of someone enjoying content made by a bad person. I'm not supporting the Bright and Biter anymore. Some of these posts are genuinely hilarious, and you've got to wonder if they were actually posting these with a serious face. Maybe a tear rolling down their eye as they censor the word Dream. So the critically acclaimed person, Midas, also weighed in saying, what a beast. Oh look, it's Midas. Do you remember that time when he boosted the Skeppy allegations publicly, you know, made it a big deal, got over 120,000 likes platforming these said allegations, then when they all retracted their statements, he waited a little bit and then silently deleted his post, didn't make any clarification post saying that they'd been retracted or not, you know, that Midas? Because I too would weigh in a situation like GeorgeNotFound if I had platformed allegations with no proper evidence, if I had no idea if they were true or not, acted like they were true, then silently deleted my posts once they'd been retracted because I was getting a little bit of pushback, and then made no clarification post or update post about what had happened in that situation, and just let the vast majority of people that liked that post and saw your tweets genuinely believe that Skeppy had done those things. But everybody, you're right. I think we should be criticising Dream, not those type of people. If I told anyone about my experience and they didn't come out with the he needs to end himself mentality, then I would start rethinking our friendship. Like, Average Harry is more than valid in this scenario. Leave it to a GeorgeNotFound fan to have a man telling their fave to die in a clip, and they still somehow find a way to hate on the woman sitting beside him? This is very clearly a subtweet of me and my video I made on the whole situation. Now, if this person wasn't being incredibly disingenuous and framing it in a incredibly disingenuous light, you would know, of course, that I sat there, heavily critiqued Average Harry, mainly focused on what Adam Mcintyre was saying, and then had a little side joke about the fact that Lexi was posing the entire clip because she knew that would get clipped up, and it was pretty funny because she was snapping in and out like an NPC. But we're going to frame it in an incredibly disingenuous light, not mention any of that, and just say that I was mainly focusing on Lexi because she's a woman, and try and frame it in an incredibly misogynistic light because GeorgeNotFound's involved, and that's what fits your narrative as a quote-unquote GeorgeNotFound fan. It is genuinely shocking how GeorgeNotFound fans are so effing misogynistic. They will stop at no end to harass women for simply effing existing. I don't know shit about Lexi, but the fact that I've seen her made fun of and mocked for just effing sitting there is insane. I hate GeorgeNotFound fans. Well, it's a good thing that I'm not a GeorgeNotFound fan then, because I would hate that you would hate me, and I know as well that it's a hard concept to understand that I wouldn't just be criticizing GeorgeNotFound in this situation, or that it's an impossible concept to understand that I would just be simply making a joke about the person who was sitting there like an NPC posing because she knew what the people were saying around her would get clipped up and she wanted to look her best. This one's my favourite one, bro. It actually makes me so annoyed that the guy was like making them seem bad by pointing out everything they do. Like Tubbo saying yes. Like, dude, how does that contribute to the video? This is referring to the part of the video when I was talking about Tommy and it weaponizing the false allegations against GeorgeNotFound to go against Dream in the whole Tommy and it Dream situation from the beginning of the year. And I just made a light joke about Tubbo really adding to the situation by sitting there and just saying the word yes when he was reacting. This was the segment.
And behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
I find even funnier than that clip in question is the one where Tubbo reacts to it and he just sits there, just says yeah.
Believe how the George stuff from a year ago went down. I cannot believe the response to it online. It's disgusting. It's sexist, man. And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, that was probably the most egregious thing I said in that entire video. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Lexi actually responded to a lot of the online dialogue going on about her posing there, sitting there, you know, because she knew she was going to get clipped. Never jokingly acting like a bimbo again, that shit is not worth it. Flattered people think I was a bully, though considering I ate my lunch under the stairs and got bullied so bad I had to change classes as a kid. Smiley face, but that's me logging off the internet. People have like a genuinely never-ending victim complex. Great, you got bullied as a kid? Great, that's amazing for you. Do you want a cookie? I mean, not that it's really relevant anyway, because I haven't really seen many people outside of talking about her posing in the clip actually call her a bully. But if you were bullied as a kid, you can then bully somebody when you're older or say something mean. That is something that can happen. That's logic. Like, why do we care that you got bullied? That doesn't mean you can't be a bully. Like, what? Not that that has any actual effect on the situation whatsoever, or that was a thing that people would genuinely say. It was more the fact that she was posing because she knew that she would get clipped. It was pretty funny how she would have an opinion, then snap straight back into NPC mode. It was pretty funny. Some people took a step further and said that, you know, it's funny that she's sitting there doing all that whilst her friend is saying that they wish that someone would take their own life. You know, that's the extent of the criticism towards her. People were just making fun of whatever she was doing, and that's something that they can do. Last post to go over. Can't say I'm surprised that these people saw a clip of two men talking shit and one woman quite literally just sitting there looking gorgeous, and they were most offended by the woman. Lexi could have literally just left the room and someone would have called her an attention seeker. Her sitting there posing, trying to look as best as she can 24/7 in that clip because she knew it would get clipped anytime someone was talking about like Dream or GeorgeNotFound. Yeah, that is attention seeking. And I mean, the vast majority of people made a joke about that, but their main focus was on Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre for the large majority of that podcast and the clips that were going around. But of course, people are going to focus on something that's incredibly bizarre, like somebody sitting there in the corner, posing, saying something, snapping back like an NPC, and continuously posing. That's something that's funny, that's something people are going to point out. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman whatsoever. When I saw these posts, especially Lexi's one, where she's talking about being bullied as a child, as some sympathy baiting cope mechanism, and how she's wording stuff, was genuinely hilarious. I could not pass up on the opportunity to talk about these. The tweets from people that genuinely hate, despise GeorgeNotFound, and are being disingenuous as hell, I could not pass up on the opportunity to talk about this in a video. It is absolutely hilarious. Let's start some of the video where I close off and ask you to please feel free to leave your comments down below. What's your thoughts on all of this? Please feel free to leave that down below, and once you're done, you want to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm so glad I got to make this video. I appreciate all the support on that GeorgeNotFound video and the reactions that all of those people gave that have ultimately ended up in this video. Thank you for that. Thank you for the video. Thank you for paying my rent this month, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video. Goodbye. Now, as I was rendering this video and about to post it, I also came across a few posts from Adam Mcintyre responding to some people making fun of them for the comments they made about Dream in that podcast that we spoke about. They put, whatever that is, we have got to be serious, guys. Well, it's just a bizarre and funny response to have to this, and I had to include it in this video. There was literally no way I was letting this video go out with not mentioning that whatsoever in any capacity. I had to mention that. So yeah, now the end of the video is here. Yeah, you can go now.
A lot of the Wilbur stuff was coming out. And
Bright and Biter.
Bread and butter.
I know that.
And I honestly thought I was done with this GeorgeNotFound situation after my first two videos. My first video covering the entire situation, and then my second video going after the fallout of that first video and what was going on different social media platforms and the responses certain people like Adam Mcintyre were giving to the situation. And of course, in the last video, as it was a fallout video, we were covering some of the public posts that came from the situation, positive and negative towards me, and we were laughing at them, breaking them down, taking a look at them as a whole. And some of those people, it's safe to say, were not happy that they were included included in that video. And today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of those irrational responses and a few of the tweets that we missed last time. I might say this video is made out of pettiness, and I would disagree. It's all about the comedy here and about the tweets. When you'll see them, you'll understand. Some would say it's about the money, and of course it is, and some would say it's about padding out some more slop, which of course. First post I want to take a look over is from one user that we actually spoke about in the previous video, who also made a tweet that got over 10,000 likes. At Samuel, take me the fuck out of your Reddit storytime slop video. Your monotone, unfunny, unbearably annoying commentary slop defending genuine abusers makes me sick. Now, it's just a bit of an inclination, and there is nothing to back this said inclination up, but I think they might be a bit annoyed that they were mentioned in that video. You can scream from the heavens about not wanting to be included in that video and that you want me to cut you out of that said slop video, but that's not going to happen. You posted a public post, I reacted to it publicly, a post, let's say, that got over 10,000 likes. That's well in my right to talk about it, and as well, I'm going to talk about this post because you made this public, or at least for a bit before you deleted it because you got backlash for this said post. This narrative and complaining about public posts appearing in public videos doesn't just stop there, because we also received this comment which was just absolutely hilarious. Hey, maybe don't use people's posts without permission, especially if they're not celebrities. I don't know, just a thought. Permission? You might as well just call me no consent mule right there, because unfortunately I don't need permission for public posts. I can speak about them at my own free will, especially when they've been interacted with at the very least at over 10,000 times. If you make a public post about a trending situation and it gets traction, expect for that to be publicly spoken about because you publicly put that post out there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't think it'd get funnier or dumber, you'd be much mistaken, because that person who we're just speaking about, the one that deleted their post ultimately after getting some pushback, somebody in the replies just full on admitted to falsely reporting my video. Did my duty and reported the video. I've got to give a round of applause for publicly admitting that you falsely reported a video based on the fact that you saw a tweet from one of your mutuals who was crying about their public post being featured in a public video. I've got to commend you for reporting over that and then publicly deciding to admit to that. I'm mentioning these people slightly out of pettiness because it's very clear that they don't like to be mentioned in these videos. If you don't want to be mentioned in a video, you don't want the possibility of someone to speak about your public post publicly, don't make it public then. That's simple as. You put something out there that's public of your own volition, you've decided to post that, expect people to a certain degree to talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got lots more posts to get into that are just absolutely amazing. It wasn't just those, but those videos did inspire me to end up making this video. I actually announced this on my community tab. I have a slight hunch, based on nothing in particular of course, and nothing like admitting to false reporting my video or anything like that, that these people maybe aren't too happy about being mentioned in the GeorgeNotFound video. And of course, I should have asked permission to use public posts, lol. I think I might make a short video if that's how they feel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, slop your viewers, this is going to come as an absolute shock to you all, but nobody agreed with them. Literally 0 people agree with these people who genuinely believe that I needed to ask permission to include public posts in my public video. How lazy you gotta be to not censor someone's username in a video or even ask permission for them to be in the video. Just like you're now finding out, if you make a public post of your own volition, you've posted that publicly, you've had an opinion now on a publicly posted video, and you've made a public post about that, I don't need your permission to talk about this post or need to censor your name whatsoever. You've made this publicly, anybody can go find that and talk about that because that's within their right. I don't know why these people think they have some alternate rights where no, they need permission to be asked to use their posts in any type of way. That is absolutely hilarious. And like I said earlier, believe it or not, these people got a lot of backlash and lots of people telling them that this is not how it works. As the channel A Space put, it still amazes me that people will say things publicly and be surprised that people will see their public posts publicly. That's just how the internet works. I mean, you respond to Sam's public video publicly. Did you ask him permission before making this tweet? I hate to break it to you, but your tweet is a public post and anyone including Sam is welcome to use it without your permission. He's not legally obligated to take down his video or tweets. If your take is correct, you'd be happy that Samuel is giving you free exposure. Or maybe you're scared that more people will see that you're a freak who spreads false accusations like how you say George is an abuser. Or this person who was just getting a little bit annoyed, just a tiny bit annoyed about being featured in my last GeorgeNotFound video, had actually previously quote tweeted one of my tweets when I put them in a screenshot alongside Adam Mcintyre and Minders as some people that had responded to the situation, and I mean they had, let's say, a different response. The thing I find funny about this, right, is if you're sticking to your guns and you believe what you're saying in your post and you don't think you're going to get any pushback and you believe you're in the right, then you wouldn't care about being publicly mentioned in a video after you've made a public post. It's only because you know you're going to get some pushback from your post. You're going to have people that are ripping your tweets apart because they don't agree with you and you are inherently in the wrong. That's why you're annoyed that you've been been publicly mentioned. If I was positively publicly mentioning you, you wouldn't have the same issue. It's just because you know you're going to get heavily critiqued. Now, just to wrap it up on this individual person, because I don't want to dedicate an entire video to this random Twitter spurg, although that would be incredibly funny because their tweets are, let's say, just interesting. I do want to finish off with this one post that I thought was astounding because somebody gave their thoughts on the GeorgeNotFound situation on screen currently, and this is what they had to say in response. As an SA victim myself, like you invented sexual assault, every victim is different and the term is very fluid. Why are you denying people's experiences? Because they aren't the perfect victim in your eyes. Plus it's just straight up untrue. More happen. See, a lot of these people are just incredibly disingenuous and will phrase everything in the most incredibly disingenuous and disgusting light, or are genuinely just so shit scared that they will have an opinion and then immediately block you because they are worried about what you have to say in response, or so full of anger about that said situation that they are so incredibly disingenuous. I forgot you're the channel that whined and moaned about paying $7 to make a slop drama YouTube video to perpetuate the dream saying the arsehole drama for more views. Doesn't surprise me that a misogynist supports other misogynists. Flies flock around shit after all. Again, just thrown in keywords like misogynist, there is nothing in my behaviour or in my post that would deem me as a misogynist. Just somebody who is going against their narrative and they don't like that, so they've got to call anybody that is going against their said narrative a misogynist. But what that user is talking about when they're referring to $7 is the fact that I complained and I rightfully criticised the fact that Tommy and Jack Manifold put a dream response behind a paywall, and it was incredibly funny. Now look, I think it's inherent why putting a response to such a situation behind a paywall is an interesting move, you know, a situation that involves, you know, falsely calling Dream certain things and certain accusations thrown his way, the GeorgeNotFound situation being brought up, and other serious things that are getting brought up in Dream's live streams, in Tubbo's live streams, and all of these other platforms. I think it's an interesting move to put it behind a paywall. I think it's incredibly funny that you would do that, say the things that you did behind a paywall, but you wouldn't publicly. It's a hilarious move that does deserve to get shat on. That's what that person is referring to. Again, I do love how disingenuous these posts are, right? Throwing the keywords in there like misogynist, acting like the Dream Tommy Innit situation was just about Dream saying the arsehole, and he was the only negative person in that situation, or somebody that deserved to be critiqued. It's incredibly funny because, as we all know, anybody with a fair equal mind knows that looking back at that situation and how it's panned out since, whilst Dream does deserve criticism for quite a lot of things, Tommy Innit and Jack Manifold and all those other freaks also deserve criticism as well. Dream stands for the most misogynistic, miserable people in the world. Actually effing disgusting what they're doing to Lexi for something she wasn't the one to say. Harry was right, and GeorgeNotFound is a vile person, alike his pathetic defenders. Again, just sprinkle the word in misogynistic, bring up Dream, right? Because you've got to fill the tweet with keywords. What I like again as well is this mentioning of Lexi, right? How they're acting like she's the main focal point when people were mainly focusing on what Adam Mcintyre was saying, right? About Dream, what Average Harry had to say about GeorgeNotFound and how astounding that was, and then the fact that Lexi's posing and trying to act good and acting like an NPC in the corner because she knows what's being said will get clipped. That is going to get noticed by people, and that is going to get made fun of, critiqued, and spoken about because it's a weird thing to do, regardless if it's a joke. It's absolutely hilarious that your friend there is saying that they wish somebody dead as you're posing like an NPC. People would have the same reaction if Adam Mcintyre, Average Harry, Tommy Innit, or anybody else was sitting in the corner making poses, pretending to look good, flaunting your hair or anything like that whilst that conversation is happening, because you know what's going to be spoken about is going to get clipped and you want to look your best. Yeah, people are going to make fun of that regardless of your ethnicity, gender, whatever else. What was this Adam Mcintyre post that says, "Now why am I in it?" referencing this edit. I don't know, Adam, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he might have been in that podcast episode. I don't know though. Now you can all understand why I've made this video. It is just genuinely hilarious. There are so much things to talk about in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, Stormy viewers, thank you very much for watching today's compilation of the most recent GeorgeNotFound situation. I usually do a compilation a month of a situation I covered that people want to see put into one of these. So for the future, if you do want to see any videos put into a compilation, please just feel free to comment down below. But thank you everyone for watching today's video. I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next video. Goodbye.